Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Superheroes, Movies, and Superhero Movies. I'm Justin Speck.
I'm John Pelzel.
And today we're going to be talking about Super Mario Brothers. Released in 1993, directed by Annabelle Jankel and Rocky Morton. Written by Parker Bennett, Terry Runt, and Ed Solomon. And it stars Bob Hoskins, John Leguizamo, Dennis Hopper, Samantha Mathis, and a couple other people. This was a film obviously based, actually the very first film to be based on a video game, if I am not mistaken.
Yeah, you're probably right. Unless there was something like based on an Atari game.
Which I don't think there was. I'm pretty sure this is the very first film based on a video game. But obviously based on the very popular Nintendo game of the same name.
Right. And this came out in 93, so that means that Mario had 4 games out at the time, because if I'm not mistaken, I think I know the Super Nintendo was already out.
Yeah.
And I think, it would have been. If the Super Nintendo had been released, then Super Mario World would have been released as well, because that was a game that came out with the release of the Super Nintendo.
I gotcha.
So, did you see this movie in the theater?
I did not. In fact, watching it again this time, I thought I had seen this whole film before, but I'm not entirely sure that's the case. I think I had seen about probably close to 85% of it, but I don't think I'd ever seen the beginning before, because all the stuff that took place in our dimension was not familiar to me. And there was an animated opening with dinosaurs that was not familiar to me either.
Yeah, I remember that from... And what's also interesting is this came out the same year as Jurassic Park.
Yeah. I thought of that while I was watching it. Especially when you see Yoshi. The little,
in fact, now I remember why that animation part at the beginning really stood out to me, because I got that confused with Jurassic Park.
Oh, really?
For a little while, where I was thinking that scene had been in Jurassic Park. It was probably the first couple times I watched Jurassic Park, and then was thinking about that animated scene, and then realized that it wasn't in there. And then I think it had been a little while later that I saw Super Mario Brothers again and saw that scene, and I was like, oh, that's where I saw that. I was thinking that was in Jurassic Park.
That's funny. I think I really wanted to see this when I was a kid, but for whatever reason, just never got, taken to the theater to see it. But I did watch it often whenever it was on TV, and that's why I know that I've seen most of the film. Like, when the movie started, I was like, man, I don't remember any of this. So I was thinking, man, it's been a long time since I've seen this movie, which is true. But then once they got into the other dimension and they were dealing with Dennis Hopper's Koopa and the Goombas and all of that was familiar to me, and the fungus and everything. I remember thinking the fungus looked so gross when I was a kid.
Oh, yeah. It still looks pretty gross.
It still looks a little gross. So, I only had seen Super Mario Brothers whenever it came on TV, and I just never caught it from the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah, I watched it a lot. I think just because I was such a big Mario fan.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm actually such a big Mario fan that I kind of want to talk about that. So,
okay.
I was, I guess, 6 years old when I got my first video game system. Christmas, two of my aunts pitched in together and got me my Nintendo. It was Christmas of 1990, and it came with the Super Mario Brothers / Duck Hunt cartridge, and the little shooting gun.
Yeah.
And that changed my life. And still, I probably consider that to be one of the most influential days of my life. Not just Christmas mornings, but days.
Right.
Because that got me into video games. So I was a big Mario fan, though. Like, I got Super Mario Brothers 2, which I don't know if you played that one.
I don't think I've ever played the second one. I've played the third one.
Yeah, the third one is a great one. That's probably... well, I take that back. I was going to say it's probably considered the best. It's definitely considered the best on the original NES.
Yeah.
Aside from the original Super Mario Brothers, which is just amazing because it's the one that started it all. So yeah, Super Mario World, which is the one on the Super Nintendo, is probably considered the best Super Mario game ever made.
Oh wow!
I didn't have a Super Nintendo.
I
got the Genesis.
Me too.
Which I enjoyed that system. You had a Genesis.
Yeah, I did too. I played. You know what? I probably honestly played the Genesis more than I played the NES.
Oh man, not me.
I mean, I don't know. That could be tough. That could be a tough call. But to give you a little history of my introduction to Mario, I don't remember when we got the NES. It obviously wasn't as influential of a day for me. But I know we had Mario and Duck Hunt because I played a lot of those games a lot. But I was terrible at Mario, and I never got very far in the game. So I probably only played the first 3 levels or so over and over and over again because I would die pretty quickly. I wasn't very good at it, and I wasn't very good at Super Mario Brothers 3 either. So I'm not very familiar with. I played it, and I remember having fun, but I didn't get very far into that game either.
Oh, that's a shame, man.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I beat the original Super Mario game, and I beat the third one. I don't remember if I beat it when I was a kid or if I've gone back and beaten it. Like as I got older.
Yeah.
Real quick note about the Genesis before we move on. Did you have Mortal Kombat?
I did.
Yeah, that was one of the few games. I didn't have that many on the Sega Genesis. I probably had about 12 to 15 games on my NES and maybe like 6 to 8 on my Genesis. Mortal Kombat was one of them, and that is probably the first video game movie that comes to mind when I think of a video game movie.
Yeah.
Even though I watched this one so much, I think Mortal Kombat was a little better. It doesn't hold up so well today.
Right.
But anyway, we'll get into that.
I know I've seen Mortal Kombat 1. I've never seen the second one, but I don't remember the first one a whole lot. But I also didn't see it when it came out. I saw it as an adult. I probably watched it like 10 years ago.
Oh,
Maybe
really?
A little more than that.
I see. I saw that in theater and saw it a few times in theater because the intro to that and the music with, and when it came out it was probably 95, I think.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
And so technology at that time, and you had you didn't have home theaters. So when you went to a movie theater, it was a true experience that you never got to have. You didn't have surround sound at home and stuff.
Right.
So when this theme came on for Mortal Kombat, it really got you pumped, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, if I had seen it in the theater, I probably would have loved it. I'm pretty sure I wanted to see it pretty badly, and again, for whatever reason, didn't get a chance.
You would have loved it in the theater because it was awesome in the theater.
I had Mortal Kombat and Mortal Kombat 2 on the Genesis. I remember.
Yep.
That.
I actually went to the store, to KB Toys, which was in the mall.
Nice.
The day that Mortal Kombat 2 came out, and that was the first time I had ever gone to a store for a video game, like the day it was released, and was waiting there.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a line or anything, which was surprising because that game was huge.
Yeah. Again, I don't remember purchase. I mean, I don't think I personally purchased that game, but I don't have any recollection of going to the store and getting it. But I remember having it. But I do remember being very impressed with the graphics, and I remember the first Mortal Kombat. When it said, finish him, you had very little time to get in that fatality code. And in Mortal Kombat 2, I think they extended the time a little bit, and it made it a lot easier to actually punching.
They
that
might
code.
have, but also the combos were a little bit more complex in the second one.
Yeah.
Because, like, on the first one, it was just like, if you wanted to do scorpions, it was like, you had to, it was like up real quick or something, I think.
Something like that, yeah.
But anyway, yeah, those were both classic games.
Yeah.
But I'm a big video game, like, nerd, especially more the old school. Like, I started on the NES.
Yeah.
Which a lot of the people, did. Especially the ones that stick around with liking video games.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of got hooked on that first NES.
Yeah, I was going to
generation.
say, you said, getting the Nintendo and playing Mario and everything kind of changed your life, and I was going to say you're probably not the only one that
Oh yeah,
had
no,
that
there's
experience.
there's a lot of people, that Mario did that for, and Mario was just huge.
Yeah.
And he still is. I mean,
yeah.
he just had his 30th anniversary,
Mm-hmm.
and he's still kicking. Like, everyone still knows who Mario is, pretty much, just like they did back then.
There's a frozen yogurt place out here in California that's called Yogurtland, and I don't know if it's just a West Coast thing or if they have them in other places, but they currently have a Nintendo promotion going on. So they have like Mario chocolate gelato flavor and Yoshi, lemon lime whatever flavor. So it's
right.
And then the little spoons have a little picture like Mario at the end of it and everything.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Can you get me one of those?
Do you a spoon? Sure, I'll get you a spoon.
I'll take a Mario spoon. Yeah, I don't collect Mario things, but that sounds kind of cool.
Okay.
The one Mario collection thing, I don't do a lot of collecting of things because I don't have a lot of money, but I did get the 30th anniversary Mario amiibo just to have, which actually talks to, like, it's made to talk to your games, like on the Wii U, like how it has the gamepad, and you can touch that on the gamepad, and it'll put Mario's character in certain games, and you can play like with that, and it'll keep track of stats and stuff that you do. But I just bought them to put up on my shelf, but I actually have used them a couple times because I have a Wii U. But
yeah, I don't have a Wii U. I do have a Wii. And I downloaded the old NES Super Mario.
Are you
Brother.
holding a Yoshi?
Yeah, I was going to show you that.
Nice.
I have a little Yoshi figure. For no reason really. I think I got it from my Blockbuster before it closed.
Nice.
Either I got it for free or I paid very little for it. But I've never known what to do with it. So he's been on the floor actually for a long time. But he was on top of my computer.
You throw it to your dog. It's like a dog toy.
Right. Exactly.
I was never the biggest fan of Yoshi. I think one reason was because I didn't have a Super Nintendo, and he was introduced in Super Mario World, and I didn't really play that until I was in high school.
Yeah, I would say my introduction to Yoshi was probably from the 64, and that's what I was going to say. I jumped over the Super Nintendo when I got a 64, and I played Super Mario World. Is that what it was called? No, it was Super Mario 64.
64?
Right? And
well,
then
he wasn't
Mario
really
Kart.
in that.
Oh, well, he was in Mario Kart at least. So
he was in Mario Kart, exactly, and that was my introduction to him really at first as well. And it was getting the 64 was kind of an interesting experience because I was getting all these Mario games again, and I had missed the Super Nintendo generation, so I was seeing all these new characters that they had been building up with that I had missed out on, and it was kind of weird. And lastly, the before we get on and talk about the movie, did you ever watch the Super Mario cartoon show?
Yeah, I watched that a lot, actually, as a kid, yeah. And I liked that it had the little live-action, like, intros with Mario and Luigi, and then it would go into the cartoon.
It did, yeah, I agree. I liked those too. My kids have watched them a little bit, and when they first started watching, they didn't really like that part. Like, they'd kind of be bored, and then the cartoon would come on, and then they'd watch it. But it was a very 90s thing. And who's the guy that played Mario? He was a wrestler.
I don't know, to be honest with you. I could look it up, but
he has since passed away.
Okay.
And so has Bob Hoskins.
Yeah, I was going to say, so has this Mario.
So if you play Mario in real life, you're going to die one day.
I hope that's not true, but I guess that's how it's going. This guy's name was the guy that played Mario on the TV show. His name was Lou Albano.
That's right.
I haven't heard of him, but I guess he is a wrestler. He died in 2009.
Yeah. Yep. Does it say how old he was?
76.
Okay. Oh, well, both of them actually made it. I didn't know Bob Hoskins was actually 71 when he passed.
Mm-hmm.
But, so yeah. Oh, they both made it to 70. They're 70s.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I can't really think of anything else Mario wise I want to talk about, except for the movie.
Sure.
So, we were talking about how the intro, and I got to go see it in the theater, and I remember that intro, and I was very stoked to see this movie. And it's a shame you didn't get to see it.
I know.
But at the same time, I guess it really doesn't matter now. Because this movie is not good.
No, it's not good. Like I said, I hadn't seen it in many years before sitting down to watch it this time around, and it was hard to focus on it. I found my mind wandering quite a bit just because it's just not very good. Right. So I almost kind of half watched it. Like it was on and I tried to pay attention to it, but then I'd find myself looking at my phone or whatever and kind of missing parts here and there. But I also kind of remembered enough of it to kind of figure out or, see what was going on and everything. But no, it's not. It was hard to sit through. It's on one hand, it's like there's not much of the original video game, you are a plumber, I guess, jumping up and down through pipes and hitting blocks and trying to save the princess from Bowser. But that's the whole story, really, right?
Yeah. There's really not a story to Mario except that Bowser kidnaps the princess. Even today, they haven't really gone
farther than that.
Yeah.
So you have to come up with something, and I think I do like the idea of dinosaurs evolving into like human versions of dinosaurs, basically.
It's a very, very interesting concept.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of clever. But it gets a little wacky, obviously. And I have to say, I appreciate all the kind of nods to Mario that it throws in. It has Yoshi in it. There's a guy named Toad. The bombs and the bullet bills, which are like the little cartridges that go in the shoes. So it's like they have a little. And there was one time where she was on a computer and it made a noise from the video game, which I thought was kind of cool.
Right, the 1-up sound.
Yeah, but I don't really envy the writers because they had to come up with something to incorporate all that stuff. And it had to be
shouldn't
hard.
envy the writers because they are jobless now.
Right.
And they have been since, they've got, I got them pulled up now. One of them has one episode for a TV series from 1996 called Sweet Valley High. Yeah. That was the first thing they did after Super Mario Brothers, and that's the last thing they've done since.
I don't recognize two of the writers, but Ed Solomon I do recognize, and I will give him a pass. Not every movie he writes is good, but he wrote Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure and Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
Mm-hmm.
So he gets a pass in my book for those. He also apparently wrote Now You See Me and Now You See Me 2, which are not very good. And Charlie's Angels, which I don't really have an opinion on.
Right.
I think I saw that a long time ago and was mildly entertained by it, mostly because of Sam Rockwell.
I haven't seen it, so...
Yeah. So he gets a pass. However, the directors, I don't know if you've looked up them, Annabelle Jankel and Rocky Morton.
Yeah.
They have not done much since either.
No.
And I was reading the trivia for this movie, and apparently Bob Hoskins and Dennis Hopper have both said, or had both said, that it was a husband-wife directing team, and they didn't communicate very well. And Bob Hoskins apparently said that their arrogance was mistaken for talent. So they both said it was a nightmare of a film shoot.
Wow.
So very interesting.
You know, I was noticing while I was watching this, though, I didn't really think the problem so much was with the directing as much as it was the writing. The writing was the major problem with this movie. But if you watch the directing, it's not too bad. It's like, you know, they get their action shots.
Right.
They get shots that go along with the storytelling and everything. It's really the writing, the directing of the actors. Like for instance, Dennis Hopper, I think does just a bad job as King Koopa.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's his fault or the director's. I did notice too that this Rocky Morton guy is the director, and I guess he's the creator of Max Headroom, if you know who Max Headroom is.
Yep. Yeah, I do.
And I just realized how similar in appearance Max Headroom and King Koopa are.
Yeah, that's true. A little bit.
So
I wonder if they tried to get the guy that played Max Headroom. His name is Matt Frewer, who was in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids and stuff. I wonder if they tried to get him to play King Koopa, and the studio was like, "We need somebody with a bigger name," and got.
Yeah, I was wondering where you're going with that, because I thought you were going to say something like they couldn't get him, so they settled with Dennis Hopper. And
Right.
I think it's backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, Dennis Hopper, big name. Bob Hoskins, big name.
Even John Leguizamo was I mean, I'm trying to think of how popular he was back in '93, but I feel like I knew who he was. So I would say he's even a decent sized name at the time. Obviously, a big name now.
He was pretty young, I think, when this came out, wasn't he?
93. Well, he was born in '64, so he was about 30. 31.
Yeah, well, he looks younger.
Yeah, he does.
Mario and Luigi, I don't know why they didn't give Luigi a mustache and give him more of the appearance.
Yeah, there's a couple of kind of, up until the third act, I think, where they finally kind of get into their red and green outfits.
Uh-huh.
I thought some of the costume design choices were weird because Luigi, I mean, I don't know, maybe it was because they were wanting to save the red and green outfits for later, but I feel like Bob Hoskins was wearing something red at some point, but
actually,
John Leguizamo, Luigi.
I think it was reversed.
Yeah, Luigi had a red jacket on like the whole movie.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, why did they put him in a red jacket? And it just seems like, even if it's not the classic, overalls, it seems like Luigi would have a green jacket. That's just what I would have done personally. Put him in a green jacket and have Mario wearing a red hat or something, even if he doesn't have a red jacket. But, yeah, I don't know why they decided. And that bugged me when I was a kid. I didn't understand why Luigi didn't have a mustache either. At least Mario's got a mustache. But, and just going back real quick, looking at John Leguizamo's credits, I think this is the movie that kind of introduced me to John Leguizamo. And I think I knew who he was from here on out because of this movie, because of him playing Luigi. Because looking at his credits, I don't think there's anything I would have seen before this movie.
Well, he was in Die Hard 2.
Right, but as a kid, I wouldn't have seen Die Hard 2.
I gotcha.
So I think this probably introduced me to who John Leguizamo was, and from then on, for a little while, it was probably, hey, it's the guy who played Luigi, and then I probably figured out kind of who he was.
Right. So King Koopa is the name of the antagonist in this.
Yeah.
Which later they change his name in the video game world to Bowser. He was known as King Koopa for a long time. Well, I guess it wasn't that long. It felt like a long time to me because I was a kid, but
right.
It was really from the first Mario game, which came out in 85, to I think. Well, I take it back. I think he was referenced in the instruction manual as Bowser in that, but it wasn't in the video game until Super Mario 64. I don't think until he was addressed as Bowser.
So in game, he was addressed as King Koopa.
King Koopa.
I wondered about that, and I was going to ask you because I thought, I was looking up Mario characters while I was watching this film, and I could not find a King Koopa. All I could find was Bowser, and I knew he was basically playing Bowser, but I could not figure out why they called him King Koopa instead of Bowser.
Yeah.
That would explain it.
Yeah, that was why. At the time, he was known as King Koopa. You've got the little, if you remember in the game, the turtles.
Mm-hmm.
Those are called Koopa Troopas.
Yeah, that's true. I remember that, actually, so that makes sense.
There were no Koopa Troopas in this movie, but there were Goombas.
Yeah.
Which, in the game, the Goombas are the little brown mushrooms that the very first bad guy that you see in the first game is a Goomba. And in this movie, they're the little weird-looking things with the small heads, which I don't like.
No, I didn't like it either. In the context of the movie, with the whole de-evolution and evolution machine that he had, it still doesn't quite make sense. I was going to say it makes sense, but not really, because he's de-evolutionizing them, however you want to say that. And so they're turning back kind of their dinosaur form.
Right,
but they're
exactly.
keeping those large bodies, which doesn't really make sense. So
true.
It's
this viewing was actually the first time that I realized why they looked like that, why they had that scaly skin, and it's because they were going back to a reptilian style body, but yet they still had that round, like mammal-esque head.
It was weird choice,
right?
But I guess they probably sat there and were like, how do we get walking mushrooms to be like the like the minions, essentially?
Right.
So
yeah, I mean, this was a hard one to do, especially in 1993. Let's make a movie about a video game where this guy goes to another world. He's a plumber. He travels through pipes, which they never really had them do. They had them travel through a wall.
They did do it once with the mattress scene, where he's
riding
true. Down the mattress with
that
the
is true.
women.
Yeah, I guess that would have been a pipe traveling through a pipe. I didn't think about that. But yeah, to write this movie, and they're like, well, let's make it a alternate version of basically New York, and we're gonna have everyone be like these punks, and it's gonna be dark and dystopian, and they'll have cars just like people, but they drive with electricity, and
they'll have old ladies robbing the Mario Brothers at gunpoint, or whatever.
And they push around baby strollers with giant eggs in them.
Yeah,
and they have pizza. They can order pizza from a phone.
That's right.
All of this, everything was very much all the technology and all the lifestyle was very human.
Yeah.
But apparently these were dinosaurs that evolved from, and they were living in another dimension.
Yeah, while I was watching this, I couldn't help but think, if this was made today, well, number one, I don't think it would ever be made today. If they were going to make a Mario Brothers movie now, I think it would be computer animated. It would be it would be an animated kids movie, like the Angry Birds movie that just came out,
Right. And that might like actually be cool.
Right, and I think that would be cool. But at the same time, I'm also kind of thankful this movie came out when it did. Even though it's not good, it's still cool to have a live-action Super Mario Brothers movie kind of out there.
And it's a very 90s movie.
Yeah.
Which I like as well.
Yeah.
So, even though the movie is not good, I agree with you. I'm glad it's out there.
Right.
Because you can go back, watch it. I've got nostalgia and memories from it.
Yeah, me too. Even though, like I said, I don't think I ever saw the full movie. It was one of those movies where, for whatever reason, every time I was flipping channels and I saw it was on, I would watch it.
Yeah.
So, I do have kind of a nostalgic, and I think it just makes me nostalgic for the old video game too. Even though it really doesn't have a whole lot in common with it. It, like, watching it today made me want to play the old original Mario Brothers game. I think it just kind of puts me back into that mindset of being a kid or something. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, for me the biggest thing is it's got that '90s vibe to it, and I used to watch this a lot. And it's got the '90s music in it. Speaking of the music in the movie, I really like.
Yeah.
I really like all of the music in this movie, and I'm not talking about the soundtrack. I'm talking about the score.
The score, and that would be because it's by Alan Silvestri.
What's he done?
Back to the Future.
Okay.
He also did. Most recently, he did. No, not most recently, but recently he did the first Avengers film.
Okay.
He's done quite a lot. He did Forrest Gump. He did Grumpy Old Men. Clean Slate, Blown Away, Forrest Gump, Richie Rich, Judge Dredd, Grumpier Old Men, Eraser, The Long Kiss Goodnight.
He did Judge Dredd or Dredd?
Judge Dredd. He did the first Judge Dredd.
Okay.
The Sylvester Stallone Judge Dredd. Castaway.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, he's got quite a resume.
Yeah, he works with Robert Zemeckis quite a bit.
And the music in this movie is just good. It's got a good. It's catchy, and it fits the scenes, and it really helps the movie. If this music hadn't been in the movie, I can't even imagine.
Or if it had been a less good score, it would have hurt. I mean, the movie would be even harder to watch, I think.
Yeah, but if you go back and listen to the music, it's really good stuff. It's silly, it's goofy,
right?
But it's good, and it fits the scene, and it's kind of cool.
I have two questions for you regarding the Mario video games.
Okay,
since you probably know more about it than I do. Number one was Daisy originally the princess in the original game?
Why I was getting ready to bring that up, actually.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that they decided to go with Daisy and make Luigi the romantic kind of interest with her, rather than having Princess Peach. Right.
And also, Peach was not the name of the princess when this movie came out either.
Right.
It was Princess Toadstool.
Maybe that's why they didn't pick her.
Well, you got to remember, they're living in the Mushroom Kingdom.
Sure, yeah.
And they did go with that for this movie. This is technically the Mushroom Kingdom. I think they even reference it as the Mushroom Kingdom once.
Do you think do they reference that in the movie because of the fungus?
The fungus, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And that's the only mushroom aspect to it, is the fungus. Yeah, he never picks up a mushroom and grows.
No.
Or finds a star that makes him invincible. Or a flower that lets him throw fireballs. But they do have little elements in it that were in the game. Besides the Goombas, like there's the bomb, which is the little bomb that he winds up. That's in the games. I don't know if you noticed, but the little cartridges that they used to put in the boots that let them like shoot up in the air, that was a
Bullet Bill, right?
Bullet Bill, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice job, Justin.
Well,
you know the name.
I did a little research before we started recording. I would have recognized the name Bullet Bill, but I don't think I would have been able to think of it.
Yeah. And then of course you had Yoshi, which you were talking about, which Yoshi looked really good. He's an animatronic. Yeah. But he looked good, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't really look like Yoshi, but yeah, he looks good. He's like a little mini T-Rex kind of thing.
Yeah, he's exactly. And I mean, technically they reference that King Koopa came from the Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Yeah.
Which is not accurate either. I mean, I think the Koopa is an actual like species in its own, and that's why the Koopa Troopas, they're Koopas.
Right, and I was gonna say they look more of the turtle family.
They're turtles.
Like Bowser has
and
a shell.
So's Bowser.
And yeah,
he's got a shell.
Yeah.
But I kind of liked how at the end of the movie they show him morph into the T-Rex.
Yeah.
Which, even though it didn't look very good, I actually kind of thought that was a neat little throw in there, since they had referenced that.
That was cool.
But Princess Daisy, back on her, it was from the Game Boy version of Super Mario, which was called Super Mario Land.
Oh, okay.
And they replaced her in there, or they replaced Princess Toadstool with Princess Daisy. She's not like she's a different person.
Right.
And she's actually brought in later into games. Like, she's in the Mario Kart series right now and stuff. I think she's supposed to be Princess Peach's, like, niece or something.
Oh, okay.
But I was actually looking that up to see if they got her name from the movie or if the movie took it from her. But the game came out in 1989, so they would have gotten
they got it from the game. Right.
And that's probably why they picked Luigi to be the love interest. And also, you watch the end of this movie, it's clear that they were expecting or hoping for a sequel.
Yeah, I read a little trivia fact about that, and they said that they lifted that ending right out of Back to the Future. I don't know if that was originally how it was supposed to end, but I guess, Back to the Future came out in 85, and this movie came out a little while after, but in the trivia section, it said somebody, I don't know if it was the screenwriters or whatever, just was like, let's pull it Back to the Future, and they decided to end it like that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, clearly this movie was a box office bomb, and so there was never any sequel.
Yeah.
There is also a post-credits scene. I don't know if you sat through
I saw that for the first time this viewing.
Yeah. I thought that was kind of interesting. The Koopa cousins are talking to two video game developers, I guess, who want to make a video game based on them, and they decide to call it the Super Koopa Cousins or something.
Yeah, so Super Koopa Cousins, which actually sounds kind of cool.
Right.
Just the name, not the concept, but the name. Super Koopa Cousins.
Okay, my other question for you is...
Yeah.
Do they ever... In the video games, do they ever give Mario and Luigi a last name?
No.
Like, is there... Okay, that's... Well, I was wondering, it's something that I guess I probably have thought about in the past, but just forgot about. But when the movie starts and he answers the phone, Mario Brothers Plumbing, I'm thinking, is his name Mario? And then they go to the police station later, and he says his name is Mario, and his name is Luigi Mario. And I was like, that's pretty great that they actually put that in the movie. Like, I thought that was actually kind of cool.
Yeah. It's kind of a funny little scene.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no, but that's not canon at all.
Right.
I think Iggy if they were to do and Spike, which were the names of the Koopa cousins, were actually names of the Koopa kids in Super Mario 3.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And then I'm assuming some of these people are made up, like Daniela and Lena. I'm looking at the cast.
Yeah, I don't know who they are.
Yeah, I don't recognize.
But they did have Toad, which was the musical guy.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be
who got turned into a Goomba.
Right. He's supposed to be a mushroom.
Right.
Person. But not in this movie.
Not in this movie.
Yeah, there's really nothing Mario about this movie except their names, a couple sound effects, they're plumbers.
Yeah. That's about it.
Yeah, it's everything else is just names.
Yeah.
And
but again, unless it's like an animated film where you actually have Mushroom Kingdom, I really don't know how you make a live action film on Super Mario Brothers.
Right.
So I feel like they did maybe not the best they could, but they did something, They did
they
tried.
did something, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I was going to say, if they made the movie now concerning their names, they could keep Mario as being the last name, and they would just, Mario would just be like people call him Mario, like some people call me Speck.
Right, It's not his first name.
Right. And then you just never know what his first name is. But then Luigi would have to still be Luigi Mario, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like that.
Right.
But I like it for this movie. I do like it for this movie.
Yeah, I thought it was funny. It made me laugh. I actually like Bob Hoskins in this. I mean, I can't really think of any Bob Hoskins movies or performances that I didn't like, but he's good as Mario, I think. He's basically doing the same kind of accent he does in Roger Rabbit, but he's not a bad Mario by any means.
Yeah, like the Mario that he created is cool. He's likable. And it might just be because it's Bob Hoskins.
It's possible.
But yeah, I agree. Like you root for this Mario.
Yeah.
And Luigi. I liked I liked
John
Luigi.
Leguizamo.
Yeah. I don't know, like, did Samantha Mathis go on to do anything else? I don't know who she is.
I haven't seen her lately, unless she's just doing TV shows or something that I don't watch, but she was in American Psycho and Broken Arrow, so she did some stuff. She was still kind of big, I guess you could say, in the late 90s.
Mm-hmm.
She was in the 2004 Punisher. Oh, she played Frank Castle's wife, so she was probably just in the beginning. But after that, yeah, she's done some TV shows. She's still working, it looks like, but she's currently on a show called The Strain, which I've heard is actually really good. It's a Guillermo del Toro. I don't know if he created it or if he just produces it, but it's a show that he's involved with, and I've heard is actually pretty decent.
Okay. I've heard of that. I've heard of that show. So
yeah. Oh, she was on Under the Dome, which you said was not very good.
No, I read the book Under the Dome and really liked it, and then I started watching the show, and I think I watched 2 episodes and just stopped after that because it just wasn't good. It was not a good adaptation.
Gotcha. That is a book that I've had on my shelf for many years and have still not read.
It's a good book. You should read the book.
I will. That's why I didn't watch the show though, because I didn't want to. I actually wanted to read the book first. So
it's kind of a love letter to people that watch television series.
The book is?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Like modern TV.
Yeah.
Like drama TV. It's kind of a big clash of, you've got like your crime drama, you've got your sci-fi drama like Lost, you've got your like Walking Dead survival stuff.
Right.
And there was another show that you've kind of got you just got it all in there. And I know that Stephen King is a big fan of television drama series, so I think that's kind of why he wrote it.
That's cool. I'm a big Stephen King fan. I haven't read too many of his books, but all the books I've read of his I've pretty much enjoyed. I think there's only been one book of his that I just could not get into. I read the whole thing, but I just was not a fan. And that was one of his more recent books called Revival. I couldn't get into that one, but everything else has been pretty top notch.
Yeah. I've only read, I think, 3 or 4 of his books, but I consider him my favorite author. I consider him the Stephen King of writing.
Stephen King is the Stephen King of writing.
Did I say Stephen King?
Yes, you did.
I meant Steven Spielberg.
Okay, gotcha.
You can see how I would have flubbed that up because they both share the same first name.
Yes, I could.
I consider him the Steven Spielberg of writing.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I thought you were just being clever, but that doesn't make sense to me.
No, don't give me that much credit. So, Mario, I can't think of anything else that really I want to go over. I mean, we could talk a lot more about, like, the world and the rock that they had to put into the comet, which was a kind of a dumb premise.
Yeah, that...
Like,
I feel like they could have... I mean, it's all right that it kind of is connected to the dinosaurs by having that meteorite. But at the same time, like, it makes no sense that opens up a portal or allows like a gateway of 2 different dimensions.
Well, it makes even less sense that that it's perfectly round,
right?
And that in order to open up the portal, it has to complete the piece, which is a little tiny chunk, which God knows how that piece got knocked out.
Right.
And it will complete the comet to
merge the 2 dimensions,
and it'll make it completely round. Like, it's a perfect fit, and it's like you can see it's really smooth. I mean, it's not super smooth, but it's a round sphere,
right? Yeah,
and that's what it needs to complete it.
Yeah, I mean, this movie has a lot of problems, and that's one of them. But I would say that, like you said, the writing is probably its biggest problem. And like I said, I don't envy the writers because I'm sure it was a pretty tough task. And from what I've read, apparently the directors wanted to make it a, kind of a darker, more adult film, whereas the studio wanted it to be more kid-friendly and, a family film, which makes sense because most of the people playing the game around this time were kids.
Right. There really weren't, at this time, there really weren't a lot of adult gamers.
Right.
And that's something that I think is very interesting with how the generation is going, is because now I'm pretty sure that the average gamer is in their 30s, like mid-30s.
Yeah. So who were kids when this game came out.
Exactly.
This original Super Mario Bros.
And they continued to play. And now it's going to, back at when these games were coming out, video games were for kids. Now it's the adults are playing it more. So as our generation continues to grow, you're literally going to have grandparents playing video games
with their grandkids. Yeah,
with their grandkids, because once our generation gets to that age, we're still going to be playing.
Yeah, probably. I mean, it's very true. Like, I wouldn't really go so far to call myself a video gamer. I enjoy video games, but I don't play them. There's a lot that I don't play, and I don't play them as religiously as some folks do. But I still purchase the gaming systems. Not all of them. Like, I've kind of given up. I don't buy. I have a PS4.
Yeah, but you've gotten one from every generation.
PS3. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
You got a PS2,
and that's what I'm
also,
saying. Like, and I will probably continue to do that because there's going to be games that I want to play, even if it's not all the games. Well into my older age.
Right. I personally am. I mean, I do the same thing. I have a PS3. I had a PS2. I had a Xbox. I didn't have a 360. I had a PS3. I still do, but I had a GameCube, the Nintendo 64, the original PlayStation. Mm-hmm. I've gotten most of the consoles. I only try to get one for each generation. Like, the only reason I got an Xbox was because my PlayStation 2 died.
Right.
I didn't have them at the same time.
Right, and I don't have an Xbox 360 or an Xbox One or whatever it is that's out now. So
right.
I've kind of just stayed with the PlayStations.
But for me, the only system I will always buy, even if I have one, is Nintendo.
Yeah.
Because that's where the Mario games are, and I'm a big Nintendo fan. Mm-hmm. I love Mario games. I love Zelda games. And they come out with a lot of Mario stuff, like Mario Kart. I like Mario Party games.
Yeah.
And then
they're fun. I mean, and they get. I like that they kind of almost reboot, I guess you could say, some of these older games. Like when Mario Kart came out on the Wii, the original Wii. It was weird because they had that steering wheel and it was kind of difficult. But I've played Mario Kart on the Wii U, and that game is a lot of fun.
Yeah, the Wii U is a good. The Wii U, the Mario Kart that they came out with on the Wii U is a good version of for the Mario Kart series, because I've got it. The Wii U itself was a very underrated system. It was a good system, and it's a shame because it's getting ready to go out because they're coming out with their next one, which is called the NX, and they haven't announced what it is yet, but apparently it's going to be this big thing, kind of like the Wii was, where it's a new technology, and we don't know what it is yet. But because of how poorly the Wii U sold, they are already coming out with that system. It's supposed to come out next year.
Oh, wow.
And the Wii U has only been out 3 years, I think.
That is fast.
Yeah. But there's other Nintendo properties I like Animal Crossing. You probably don't know what that is.
I've heard of it.
That's one that they didn't do on the Wii U, but I'm kind of shocked they didn't. But it came out on their mobile device, the DS, the 3DS and stuff.
Okay.
Star Fox. I don't know if you know what that is.
Heard of it.
Yeah. That was another one. The best. The last good one they really had was on the 64, but they try to come out with those occasionally. And then of course you got Pokemon.
Right.
But that is more of a mobile game. Like, there's really not a Pokemon game that's on the home consoles.
Mm-hmm.
Like all the main Pokemon games come out on the handhelds.
Gotcha. Well, back to the movie Super Mario Brothers. I think it's probably about that time to give it a rating. What do you say, John? Out of 5 stars, how many are you giving it?
It's gone down for me, since, all the times watching it growing up and everything. I would have probably given it a 3 out of 5. I'm going to give it a 2 out of 5.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to, if you had asked me before I rewatched it, I probably would have said somewhere in the C's, C+ or something. But like I said, I had a hard time getting through it this time around. So there are a couple of redeeming factors, mainly just the nostalgia factor, Bob Hoskins' performance, and that's probably about it. But I guess I would give it probably a D+, is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'd love to know what you think about Super Mario Brothers. You can comment on our website, www.cinemaheroes.com. You can throw us a line on Twitter @CinemaHeroes, or you can comment on our Facebook, facebook.com/SM and SM Podcast. I think that about wraps it up for this episode. I'm Justin Speck.
I'm John Pelzel.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for now.